Is Travis Hunter a cornerback or a wide receiver? Let's find out. Welcome back to the All Pro Football Data Show. My name is Jim Cobern, and today's episode we're talking about Travis Hunter. Is he a cornerback? Is he a wide receiver? This is probably the biggest question that most draft people. We are going to talk about the Heisman Trophy winner today. We're going to look at his data compared to wide receiver prospects since the 1969 NFL draft class. We're also going to look at his data compared to every single cornerback since the 1989 NFL draft class, including Deion Sanders, primetime himself. We're going to see where he stacks up and decide today which position Travis Hunter should play based on his analytical data. With all this stuff out of the way, let's get to his data, starting off with his offensive receiving and touchdown market share. Taking a look at him as a wide receiver, his total offensive market share was 92 percentile. His receiving market share was 69, and then his touchdown market share was 94. When you look at the All-Pro averages, the Pro Bowl averages, and the starter averages, the only area where he misses the mark a little bit is his receiving market share. He still scored extremely well as a wide receiver based on those three metrics. Now, when you take a look at his efficiency data as a wide receiver, he did well too, but he did have an issue in terms of his yards per reception. His TD percentage was 77 percentiles. He was very good at a per snap basis in terms of getting touchdowns, but his yards per reception score was only 32 percentile. So when you look at the All-Pro averages, Pro Bowl averages, and the starter averages there, he doesn't quite hit all the metrics that you want from him to hit. He's an imperfect prospect at wide receiver. There's some missing ingredients here in terms of him as a wide receiver. And maybe if he was more of a full-time player at one position, he might have been a little bit more productive. Now, at the cornerback position, it's a totally different discussion. Taking a look at his solo tackle, sack, and tackle for loss market share. His solo tackle score was 27 percentile. His sack score was 23, and his tackle for loss score at the cornerback position was 59. Typically, this is the zone corner metric right here. Most of the time, zone corners score high in solo tackle data, sack data, tackle for loss data. They oftentimes produce like safeties in terms of how they produce. And with Travis Hunter, as you can see right here, doesn't really do well in terms of his solo tackle data, sack data, or tackle for loss data. Is that because he split time? That's possible. But that just kind of goes to show that at the cornerback position, in terms of the big three metrics to kind of determine if you're going to be a zone corner, because I've heard that a lot in draft circles. I've heard a lot of people say that Travis Hunter is a zone corner. But when you look at his data, that doesn't really bear out. And what actually shows up more for Travis Hunter as a cornerback is his ball skills. The data that really matters in terms of his ball skills, things like the interception market share, which is 90 percentile, pass deflection market share is 73. His forced fumble market share is 65. And when you look at the All-Pro averages, the Pro Bowl averages, and the starter averages, he hits all the averages for an All-Pro, Pro Bowl, and starter player based on his ball skill data. And typically, players who perform like this are man corners. They're coverage corners. They're not playing close to the line of scrimmage. They're mirroring and making plays on the ball. And it's not surprising that he has really good ball skills, because if you see how well he produces as a wide receiver, of course he's going to have great ball skills at the cornerback position. But that's the big difference between the two. As a wide receiver, Travis Hunter scores extremely well as a potential Pro Bowl to starter to potentially even all-pro wide receiver prospect based on his overall offensive data, outlier at all-pro. When you take a look at him as a cornerback, he doesn't hit the solo tackle, sack, and tackle for loss data to be a well-rounded cornerback at the next level, and is more of a coverage cornerback who has really good ball skills. But if you have really good ball skills, why don't you just play wide receiver? Bottom line, in terms of comparing Travis Hunter to other prospects, wide receiver seems to be winning the day here versus cornerback first. Then we're going to get to his age and competition data. Taking a look at Travis Hunter and his age and competition data at the wide receiver position, which is by far his best position. And this is going to prove it even more. When you look at his age score, he had an 88 percentile age score. His MSA rating is 94. His pass rating is 89. He's nearly in all the metrics that really matter in terms of projecting wide receivers. Moving to the cornerback position, he is not like that. When you look at his age score, virtually the same. His MSA rating is 83 percentile, and his pass score is 69. Why? because MSA rating takes a look at most of the ball skill metrics, interception data, and the pass deflection data in terms of MSA rating, whereas the production scores, including all of them together, the tackle for loss, the sack data, the forced fumble data, when you add all that data together, 69 percentiles. In terms of him being a pure great cornerback at the next level, he's not testing out as well in terms of that area there. The biggest thing to really take away from all this, just initially, is that Travis Hunter is more so a wide receiver, or it makes more sense to put him at wide receiver because the things that he does really well in terms of ball skills translates well at the wide receiver position, whereas the things that the cornerback position does have to do other than just ball skill ability, he's not really doing that. He's not really getting it done in terms of sacking, in terms of tackle for loss, in terms of playing close to the line of scrimmage at times because of his instincts and tackling consistently. These are things that he's not necessarily doing. Because of that, he's a more well-rounded wide receiver prospect than he is a cornerback prospect in terms of the things that the quarterback position has to do. Now, before we get to a metric comparison, which is really going to be the tell of the tape of this, let's get to Travis Hunter and more of a micro view of his production at the wide receiver position. His wide receiver production in first down, second down, and third down. His cumulative data in first down situations was 44 percentile. Typically, he wasn't making a ton of plays in first down situations, but he was doing well in second down situations with a 79 percentile overall score in second down situations. And he also did well in terms of third down situations with an 88 percentile score in terms of his ability in third down situations. His conversion rate in first downs wasn't the best across the board, whether it's first down situations, second down situations, or third down situations. He had a below average ability to convert in those situations. It wasn't a very reliable chain mover on first, second, and third down. He did do well in terms of TD percentage, so first down situations and second down situations, he was doing pretty well in terms of getting touchdowns. Big plays, especially in second down and third down, he typically was getting those 25-plus yard plays in that particular area of the football field. But Travis Hunter is definitely inconsistent. When you look at his micro data, he's not an elite prospect in every single down and distance for him, but he's good enough to translate something to the next level as a wide receiver that could develop into something great. Now, another area to look at before we get to metric comparison is also his red zone data. As a red zone wide receiver, he wasn't the best. His TD percentage in red zone situations was 45 percentile, and his percentage of 15-plus yard plays in the red zone was 18 percentile, with a cumulative score in the red zone of 51 percentiles. Most of the time, his touchdowns realistically were not coming from the red zone. They were coming from big plays on second down and third down situations versus getting those plays specifically in the red zone. It's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because you want a wide receiver that's not just having to get into the red zone to get a touchdown. You want them to make those big plays and get those touchdowns, those big splash plays, and just get into the end zone already versus having to get into the red zone and then get into the end zone. That's one good thing. However, it also shows that there is an issue of finishing in those red zone situations. He's not as refined in his ability to make plays in the red zone to get touchdowns once he gets to the red zone. That is one area where he's a little bit inconsistent, as most of his data is. I don't think there's been any particular area where he was just lights out 100%, except for maybe his age and competition data. But let's get to the metric comparisons. When I went back and tried to find a cornerback prospect that was closest to Travis Hunter, the main man that came up was Jacorian Bennett. Now, Bennett is a newer prospect drafted by the Raiders. He had very similar in terms of solo tackle data, sack data, and TFL data. His interception rate was very similar to Hunter as well. His pass deflection rate was actually better than Hunter at 90 percentile versus Hunter, who was 73. Forced fumble data was 65 for Hunter and 51 for Bennett. Age, Hunter was younger than Bennett. That's one thing that Hunter has above Bennett, is being a younger prospect. So there's more potential for him to get better. MSA rating 83, 82 for Bennett. Pass score 69, 65 for Bennett. And then the EAV score was 72 for Hunter and then 82 for Bennett. The EAV is a little bit off, but you can see the pattern here. These are both cornerbacks who had below average data playing at the line of scrimmage, but they did really well in ball skills, interception market share, pass deflection data. All that stuff is there with both of these prospects. And this is what Hunter tests like. A man coverage cornerback, not necessarily an enforcer. Now, moving on to a wide receiver comparison, which is why I prefer Hunter at wide receiver. Is the best comparison for Hunter as a wide receiver is Jeremy Maclin, if you remember him from the Eagles. But Missouri is the school that he came out from. When you look at Hunter and you look at Maclin, very similar data here. Total offensive market share was 92 percentile. For both of these prospects, it was in the 90 percentile. Their receiving market share was in the same area. Their TD percentage was a little bit higher for Hunter, a little bit lower for Maclin, but still very similar. TD percentage was higher for Hunter and a little bit lower for Maclin. Their yards per reception, both of these guys were below average. They weren't averaging a lot of big plays, more so the shorter variety, but still getting it done. Age and competition. Age was 88 percentile for Hunter, 99 percentile for Maclin. MSA rating 94, 97 for Maclin. And then pass score 89 and 90. And of course, EAV 92 and 91. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I would much rather have a Jeremy Maclin on my football team than I would a Jacorian Bennett. And there's nothing wrong with Jacorian Bennett. In terms of winning football games, putting points on the board is the biggest thing that really matters a lot. And Hunter would be a better prospect, a much better NFL impact if he played the wide receiver position. And as you've seen through all the data that I've showed you guys thus far, he beats cornerbacks in overall market share data at the wide receiver position. When you go metric by metric by metric with Travis Hunter, he looks a lot better as a wide receiver compared to a cornerback. Simple as that. He is a better candidate, analytically speaking, as a potential Pro Bowl, All-Pro player at the wide receiver position, whereas at the cornerback position, he would have to be an outlier to really stick out and stand out at that position there, which might be his highest upside to an outlier. Based on all of this information, even though Hunter is not perfect at the wide receiver position, he still has the data indicative of somebody who could go to the NFL level, get coached up a little bit, improve a couple things here and there, and then become an extremely dynamic player. But if you were to come up to me and say, Jim, what position should Travis Hunter play? We drafted him with the first pick overall or the top 5 pick overall. What position should we put Travis Hunter as? And I would say he should devote most of his time to wide receiver. He has the ball skills to play wide receiver and play it well. He's going to make more money playing wide receiver than cornerback anyways. He has not demonstrated to be an elite zone cornerback based on his overall production, but he has shown to be a near elite wide receiver prospect. And I would much rather have a near elite prospect than a above average prospect, I think, if we're being honest. So with all that stuff out of the way, thank you guys so much for watching the video today. Of course, my name is Jim Cobern. You can follow my other work at patreon.com/jcoburn. Also check out my Twitter at Geometrics. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to see more videos like this, please leave a comment in the comment section below to tell what next video you want me to cover, what other question do you have about the metrics that I use, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.